Hey everybody. Um yeah, I'm on live I'm on live. Obviously I'm online. I'm bored out of my mind. It is 12:30 on Saturday night and I am bored out of my mind. Can't sleep, wide awake, and I don't know. I just wasn't sure if there was anybody out there that might feel like talking paintball or doing whatever. So it's not really a fake it till you make it show. It's not really an anything show. I just figured I'd reach out to my paintball friends and see if there was anybody that felt like chatting live online. So I just thought, hey, cheers to y'all. This is only water, by the way. Not drinking anything stronger because I really want to sleep. Hey, Connor, and hey, Eric. Eric, where were you last night when I couldn't sleep? Well, last night, Eric, I was spending the evening with my son. Matt Hoops, hey, dude. And Sean, Insomnia is a bitch. Yep. So, yeah, if anybody wants to join me and just chat like this, feel free to send me or feel free to write in the comments and I'll send you an invite. There is no rhyme or reason or anything for any of this. I'm just here. And yeah, I should talk about the Christmas special that Fred Schultz and I did. That was absolutely amazing. I couldn't believe. Oh, always down for a chat anytime. Connor, do you want to come online? If you want to come online, just say the words. I couldn't believe how much fun I had at the Christmas special. Like, I mean, you had Gino from Vulcan, which is just awesome. You had Fred Schultz, you had Bud Orr, you had Tom Kay, you had Dan Colby, you had so many people. It was just amazing. Matt says just got a Stormer Elite and any must-have accessory for a MagFed. You are asking the wrong guy if you are asking about MagFed. Got a link for the Christmas special. There's a Facebook. I just posted on my Facebook account the YouTube channel. If you go to Popular Unknown Paintball Podcast on YouTube, you search for that, you'll see the Christmas special, and that's the easiest way to find it. Okay. Let me just give Connor an invite here if he's feeling bored. Then we can just send him an invite. 1 second. Bear with me, guys. I'm sorry. I took my glasses off and all right, where did he go? There we go. Sorry about that, guys. Like I said, this is not a podcast. This is just me going live and hanging out with some of my best paintball friends, which would be you all. So Connor sent you an invite, and what do we got here? Dude, it was awesome. I assume we're talking about the paintball podcast, the Christmas show, and yeah. So yeah, maybe Connor will join us. He is from Australia, and we can all laugh at his dreadlocks and his funny accent. And I like laughing at his funny accent. That way, you guys can't always tease me about how I say out and about. So, joys of being a Canadian. But yeah, I couldn't believe all the things that happened on the Christmas special. That was just mind-blowingly awesome. I was getting messages for days afterwards asking, did that really happen or this or that? So, looks like we got Connor joining in. Hey, Connor, how you doing?
Steve. G'day, mate.
G'day, how are you?
I'm good.
This is my partner, Chloe.
Awesome.
Hello.
Meet you, Chloe.
How are you?
You must be a fantastic person to put up with this schmuck.
Yeah, look. Yeah.
So just so you guys know, if there's anything you want to talk about or ask about, you just go right ahead. It is 12:30 here, and I'm bored out of my mind. So I just figured I'd go live and talk to some of my closest friends all around the world. So that's what I'm doing. So if you guys want to click out or ignore anybody on the watching the background, I won't be offended. I'm just hanging out. This is not a show.
Yeah, no, that's fine, man. Yeah, we just had like a couple of spare minutes, and I saw that you went live, so I'm just like always down for a chat. I'm a bit of an insomniac myself, so always down. And Chloe just happened to be here, so I thought, oh, hey, you want to come jump on and meet Steve? These are the guys that I've been talking about. So
Yeah. So
yeah,
what time is it where you guys are right now? You're like 16 hours ahead of us, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
about 4:30 in the afternoon. I just knocked
Ah.
off work.
Chloe's
Cool.
a nurse at our local hospital here.
Nice.
Yeah. So when he comes home with cuts and bruises, I can make sure he's looked after.
Which is handy because sometimes I'm clumsy AF.
And so her most common words are rub some dirt on it and walk it off, be a man.
Yep, rub some dirt on it, walk it off, you'll be right.
Spoonful of cement.
Spoonful of concrete.
Yeah, no, my my ex-wife was a nurse, so I know those conversations well.
Yeah.
They usually started with "you idiot."
Yeah.
Bloody idiot.
Yeah. Bloody drongo.
What were you thinking?
Yeah.
Oh, we got a question here. I want to get some more life out of my lens. Anything to remove the inner scratches? I mucked it up and wiped it with a dirty cloth. Nope. There is nothing that you can do on an inner lens once you've scratched it up on the inside.
Turf it.
Yeah. The inside of a lens is assuming that it's thermal. And anybody that plays paintball regularly has thermal lenses. So that's just an assumption. But assuming that it is thermal, you pretty much have to swap lenses. But the truth of the matter is they did studies, and if you take a paintball hit from 10 feet or less, you are supposed to change the lenses because of micro cracks. Now, I know that paintball players don't do that at all, like ever. When I was playing tournaments a lot, I was changing my lenses once a month, no matter what. I figure if I can spend all that money on paint and everything else, I can spend another 10, 20 bucks and replace my lenses. That's just like, they're my eyes. So paying good money for goggles and lenses is just, but yeah, there used to be a product that you could, oh, what was it called? You could actually peel the thermal out, and it was a thermal lens that stuck inside. They don't make those anymore. I think it was called Clear Vision. I think that's what
I've heard of that.
Yeah, it was just like a sticker that stuck in. It was an internal thermal lens that you just put in on anything. That might have worked if that still existed, but to my knowledge, it doesn't.
Used to have tear offs as well.
Yeah, but that's on the outside. His scratches are on the inside. The last thing you can, combat vision. Thank you, user. Not clear vision. It was combat vision. That's right. I'm not sure who Facebook user is, but thank you for the right answer. And you win my. It's 12:30. Am I joking? I was about to say you win my undying affection and respect, but it's just a joke. The last thing you can do is, if you have to make the lens last, if you get the fans, you can pull the thermal lens just right out with a razor blade and turn the little fan on, and that'll keep it clear as well. But yeah, I miss those combat visions. They were good.
Yeah.
So how was your Christmas, guys?
Really good.
Yeah, good.
We played a game of Cub and tried some very, very fancy craft beers. Like there was one that was like double vanilla pancake.
Custard beer. It's like a imperial IPA type situation. They're really tasty. My brother works at a brewery in Sydney, and so they make a heap of crazy like flavored craft beers. So we brought a bunch of those to our place for Christmas. So we got on those, which was pretty fun. Yeah.
See,
Like minimum was nearly like 8% beer. The most like alcoholic one we had was like 10%, and that was in a 375 ml can.
yeah. Now, is that beer or is that jet fuel?
Yeah, it was a very fine line. But I mean, if jet fuel ended up tasting like double salted caramel marshmallow ones that we were having and all of that, I would drink jet fuel every day.
They tasted so good. They were quite dangerous that way because they're so alcoholic, but so tasty.
Yeah.
It sounds like something I would love to try. Now, I haven't been drunk since 1991, but
Mate, if you come down under, you're going to break that dry spell.
Oh yeah.
see, it's not that I have anything against it. I come from a good, solid Irish family, so it's not like I haven't gotten polluted. But I went down to Mexico, and
$20 is $20.
yeah, it was all inclusive, and so I drank my face off for 12 hours straight. My brother and I were just completely hammered, and I got up. I had the worst hangover the next morning, and that was it. I just lost interest, if that makes any sense at all. It's not that story where, oh, if I even smell tequila, I'm gonna hurl. It's not that. I was just like, been there, done that, moved on. But the only thing about those specially flavored craft beers from my younger days, like from before 91, all I can think about is what like the flavored schnapps tasted like when they came back up. Yep. I don't know if I want to taste flavored craft beer the second time around. That just when you start talking about double vanilla pancake with sprinkles or whatever it was, I don't know. That sounds like torment.
Yeah, there was one that we also had, which was another IPA that was called Venom, and literally that was like, it really like snake venom, almost drinking.
It was really quite a sour beer.
Yeah.
Quite bitter as well, but it was like still good. Like it tasted pretty good.
Yeah.
Right.
And the weather turned on great for it too down here. And
yeah, the weather was really excellent.
Snowing here.
Oh, okay, yeah. Opposites, yeah.
Yeah.
It was really quite sunny, quite a muggy day. Lots of people out on the water, kayaking and stuff down at the rivers and whatnot at the beach. Yeah.
Nice. Oh, I'd love to come down there sometime. Yeah. I would just love it.
The couch down here, bro.
Yeah.
Pardon? The couch. Yeah, I don't know if I'd want to sleep in a tent. Everything out there is trying to kill you, so I don't know.
No, we haven't had a drop bear sighting around these parts at least for 6 months.
You haven't had a what?
A drop bear.
Yeah, we haven't had a drop bear sighting down here at least for 6 months.
What's a drop bear?
Okay, so a drop bear is pretty much, you know how we've got koala bears?
Right.
Well, the koalas are the vegetarians of the species.
Okay.
Whereas the drop bears are the carnivores, and literally having to disperse them is like you use our Vegemite. You put that out.
It's like a deterrent. They like to hang out in trees, and then they'll just like drop from above when someone passes by.
Yeah,
that's why we call them drop bears, because they like to drop onto their prey.
And then we got hoop snakes as well, and they're another dangerous thing.
No, it's just like a coiled snake that just.
No, hoop snake. They also come in trees, and they'll like bite onto their tail, wait until somebody walks underneath, and then they'll let go, and then they'll wrap around your neck, and then strangle you like a strangling python, basically.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. So call them a hoop snake.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds a lot like a snipe hunt too up here.
Yeah.
very much.
So,
But
yeah.
we don't ride kangaroos to school and
No,
all of that. That's a big fallacy. Emus, they don't like it. They get very cranky when you try to ride them too.
right?
And they can chase you down. But the worst thing to like down under that's not around here is the cassowary. If you ever guys look one of them up, they've got like a big bony ridge. They look like an emu, but they've got like a massive bony ridge.
They're like dinosaur, essentially, like a bird dinosaur thing.
And they hunt in packs. And they'll like literally like that whole thing in Jurassic Park where you see the raptors communicating with one another as they're trying to hunt you down and stuff.
Yep.
Cassowaries do the same.
Well, I will look it up. There's very little dangerous here in where I am anyway. In Canada, general, we have the Massasauga rattler, but that'll really only hurt you if you're older or really, really young. They're not that venomous, but they are venomous. I've caught a couple. I went to while I was going to high school, we went on this camping trip with the church, and a place called Tobermory, which if you ever come to Canada and you like diving, it's one of the most popular freshwater divings in the world because they're in the Great Lakes. It's where the storms hit, and so many old ships have fallen. There's like 40 or 50. I don't know the exact number. Don't quote me, but there's an excessive amount of ships that have all fallen, and you can like take a glass bottom boat to drive around. You can look at all these derelict ships at the bottom. But that's the Bruce Trail is where the Massasauga rattlers tend to hang out. And so we're doing this, and this is this really long hiking trail. So we're hiking along this trail, and we're camping over at one campsite for one night. And my dad was a Boy Scout leader, so I went out in the woods, and I was just out hiking around because we were camped for the night. And I heard the tss, like, oh yeah, knife comes out, V-notched the stick, pinned the head down, picked it up, and so I got this really ticked off rattlesnake in my hands. I got it by the head with one hand, and I got the tail in the other hand. I was just going like crazy. I come walking into church camp with a rattlesnake pissed right off in my hands. My camp counselors lost their mind. And I'm like, what?
Sounds like something an Australian would do.
Yeah. I beg your pardon?
Sounds like something an Australian would do. Rock up with a snake.
Just walking, like they're like, get rid of it. Like, oh, and they didn't know what to do. And so I just grabbed it, spun it, let go, and threw it off into the woods. Well, it can't bite you when it's extended, right?
Yeah.
So,
as they say, you yeeted it off into the distance.
So it's gone. All right. So somebody says if Connor can't see chat, ask him about spider season. I don't want to hear about spiders.
Oh, every season is spider season.
Yeah, winter, summer, spring, autumn, all year round is spider season.
You just get different variants at different times. They're more prominent in like the summer and springtime. Obviously, they'll make massive webs in your walkways and in your driveways. So when you walk from your car to your house, you'll just get a face full of spider, which is always lovely. And these like massive like orb spiders too.
Yeah,
they're fun.
We get funnel webs down here as well that they always seem to come out after we've had a decent amount of rain down here, and like for a little bugger like that, we'll drop a herd of elephants within one bite.
Right.
Like the funnel webs in these things will literally, like the single bite will kill a herd of elephants, basically, is how bad and toxic these things are.
Right.
Yeah. But we haven't had anyone in Australia die from snakes or spiders since the 70s because of just anti-venoms.
Right.
Yeah. And just because we do a lot of education in schools and stuff as well. So kids know to like check their shoes before they put them on and all that kind of stuff. So it's not really much of an issue.
Even the plant life is gonna like try and kill you. Like, you know, some of the plants, if you rub up against them, they'll give you a nasty rash that'll literally melt your skin off. And
we have that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do have a few really poisonous plants, but they don't really try to kill you.
Yeah.
No.
We have this heart-shaped leaf that is similar to like your kind of poison ivy or poison oak, I think, where it makes you really, really itchy and stuff like that. But for the kicker, this heart-shaped leaf that's found around this area, especially in some parts of like the subtropical jungle areas and whatnot, that it'll do the same. It'll make you itch, but the more you itch, it releases more of the toxin into your bloodstream and can make you very, very sick.
Right. Lovely.
And
so this is going to help me sleep better.
Yeah.
Like
it's
this
all right.
is just
We'll give you some rum.
Can't sleep, so let's just feed his nightmares.
We'll make sure to point out all the things of like we'll put no squares. It's like don't touch. Like be like, you know, don't eat that one. You can eat that one, but not that one.
We'll
and
give
I'm
you
not
a
allowed.
rundown, don't worry.
At least up here, the things that are dangerous are large. You know what I mean? Like bears, moose, bucks during the rut. You know, like at least they're large. You can hear them, you can see them, you can shoot them. You know what I mean? Like we have options.
It's the other thing of like too that we actually have a jellyfish down here. We've got two of them. One's a box jellyfish and the other one's called an irukandji. And you know, on pins and stuff that you'd normally like use to like either hem pants or something, the little plastic ends on the ends of pins and stuff like that, that's how big the irukandji is. And that if you get hit by one of those, it can be fatal as well, same as a box jellyfish or a blue-ringed octopus that we get down here.
Basically, the land can kill you and the ocean can kill you. So
Sunday drivers as well. Like, I mean, if there's a sale on at Bunnings, hell hath no fury. Some people just forget how to drive and just like,
that's the same as here. That you know, like if at all possible, don't drive on Christmas Eve and don't drive on New Year's Eve, and just stay off the roads on certain times. But yeah, now you said earlier, and I meant to ask you. You guys said you played a game of, was it Cobb or Cub?
Basically, like a lawn game.
Like what is it? Bocce or It's like bocce, or where you throw your jack out and then you got to underarm throw the ball to get close to it. But Cub's like the Viking version of it.
Yeah, it's an old like European lawn game where you have to like knock pieces of wood over and stuff. It's just fun to play on the lawn,
especially after a few beers.
Yeah. As opposed to like playing cricket or something in the backyard. It's just like a fun little game to play. Yeah.
Yeah.
So up here, normally what we do is we play horseshoes.
Yep.
Like, and so but that's being taken over a lot by some people call it cornhole, some people call it beanbag, whatever. It's just like a board with a hole and you're just throwing beanbags.
Yep.
So that seems to be the in thing. Actually, you'll see that at NXL events too. There'll be like 3 or 4 beanbag things going. So if you go to an NXL event here in the United States, well, I'm in Canada, but regardless, they'll set this up for just the players to hang out. And it's usually right beside the bar.
Yes. That would sound like the perfect place to be, watching paintball and throwing the cornhole.
Well, you can't really watch paintball from the bar because of all the netting and stuff. They tend to keep the bar around the vendors, and then you have to walk off to where the fields are. But
well, I might have to talk to some of these bar owners, just be like, right, the Australian way is right, that we'll put the bar right next to the field on the side of the nets, and then that way you're getting live action, but also sinking a skewy as you're watching the action.
I'm sorry, you lost me at skewy.
A schooner of beer.
Schooner.
Oh, okay.
Like
gotcha.
sort of like a smaller than a pint.
What's the point?
Yeah, that's true.
You're
Um,
gonna do
Why
her,
not?
do her.
yeah, and but usually like in a schooner of beer, even for our full strength beer, which is just your tap beer that you get, it's anywhere for 4.5 to 5.2% alcohol, and our
Right.
light beer is 3% alcohol
Right.
or 4% alcohol. It's confusing to me, like how nearly a full strength beer, if you knock that decimal place off and just go righto, a single number, we'll consider it light.
Well, I believe our light beer is 3%, our regular beer is 5% as a general rule, and then we have options.
Yeah.
There are heavier ones. Yeah, but 5 tends to be the basic go-to, but the lights are in the 3% range. I think it's been a while. I never really bothered to read it anymore. It's just like, can I have a Budweiser? Thank you very much. I only drink 1 or 2, so who really cares? But yeah, it is what it is.
It's good that you have decent beer instead of some of the other ones where it's like maybe 1 or 2% sort of thing. It's like, I don't want to drink a whole lot. I just want to drink a few and feel the buzz.
Yeah. See, that's actually kind of one of the things that I like about American beer. And anybody who says that I said that, I'll deny it, even if it's live. Wasn't me, Shaggy. Wasn't me. But you can enjoy a few and not have to worry. So you can just be social and be hot, and you can be drinking, and you don't have to worry about lowering. You know what I mean? Oh, somebody said Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. There you go. And to the girls as well. I'm not sure who Facebook user is, but Merry Christmas. So did you guys play any paintball this weekend, or?
Not currently, because we've kind of shut down. We might be back after New Year's.
Right.
Just depending on the hangover. But in January, around Australia Day here, we have our first competition of the year, which is a 3-man. And we play round robin, so all the divisions actually play each other, and it's semi-uncapped.
Cool.
So yeah, it's a bit more old school, and we always say that it probably takes a little bit more skill to play 3-man or just a semi-uncapped event to really be able to sling the paint without having to rely on ramp sort of thing.
Well, 3-man, semi-uncapped or otherwise, is a very aggressive game. Like, and there's going to be people that argue with me, but rate of fire on a 3-man really isn't that big a deal, because if you spread out, somebody small and fast and aggressive wins. That's just how it is. Like, there used to be a California player, even while semis were in full force, and I forget the name of the person that used it. I wish I could remember, but instead of using autocockers like the rest of his team, he played with a pump, and he was a front man, and his whole style was jump, 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 and people were trying to figure out what was going on and where everybody is, and he would just move. He'd get an angle on you, he'd pop a couple rounds, he'd duck in, and he played like lightning, and he read the field like nobody's business. I wish I could remember what his name was. He was just magic on the field, like pure magic. I'm fairly certain he played for the Ironman. I know he was JT sponsor, because I can remember the posters and the t-shirts and stuff like that. But yeah, I can't remember what his name was. But no, when I played 3-man World Cup,
yep.
I was using ramping, but it wouldn't have made a difference. So, like, I have fast fingers anyway, just because old school autocockers give you a certain amount of speed. And I don't know about you, but I know with me, especially back in the 90s when you had to have the strings, the finger strength, everything that we touched that had a trigger or had a button that you could push, like the trigger on a spray bottle, like if you're cleaning the windows. Yeah, I was always just tap, 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 tap. Or when I'm driving, the button on the automatic shift knob, it's just like, I've driven so many girlfriends nuts because all they hear is the click, 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 and it's just me hammering the button on the shifter. So, yeah. Well, there's not a lot of people on it. I went live. We actually went up to 25 people, and now there are 3. So thank you for the 3 that are hanging out. Oh, now there's 4.
Leave you to it. I've got to
Pardon?
Get going.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for it was really nice meeting you.
Thank you. You too.
It's probably best that you know who's going to be violating your couch sometime in the in the next couple of years.
I'm you are. All right, mate. Have a good one. We'll see you later.
Thank you so much. Have a good one. Good night, guys.
But yeah, she's just got to duck off because about 6, we've got a family dinner, so I'm gonna have to jump off in a minute.
Yeah, man, do your thing. I just jumped online because I was bored, couldn't sleep, and I thought, what the hell?
Well, anytime, man, that you like that, you see me online, even just vid chat, I'm always down to talk, and I would talk your ear off of stories and balling and just what's going on.
That's my big problem is that I'm usually, if I'm texting or messaging, I'm usually messaging like 3-4 people at a time. Like I'm carrying on multiple conversations. So I don't tend to go on just video chats or phone calls for that matter. Can't stand them actually, as a general rule, just because they're taking me away from so many other things. Hey, Eli.
Hey, Eli.
Eli is the man behind the Airsoft Paintball Association of Ontario. I believe that's
okay. Yeah. Eli's reached out to me a fair bit and been helping me just find things out, and just having a talk because he knows another expat who I know really, really well. You might have heard of him, not sure. Pete Russell.
Yeah, he plays up at Wasaga Beach. Actually, where are my glasses? Hold on a second. I might
relocate back to my desk.
No,
I'll walk back inside now because I think I was eyeing off some local wildlife out here that was looking very cranky. The magpies don't like me very much around here.
Okay. Vegas pictures I should have. Cannon dump. Wasaga. Bear with me a second here, my friend.
Yeah. So yeah, that was Chloe, and
very cool.
She's very keen to have you come down under and come couch surf with us. And well, we wouldn't give you a couch; we'd give you a proper bed, and we'll set a guard at the door to make sure none of the local flora and fauna get into the room with you, and that way you'll sleep soundly down here.
That your buddy?
Oh yeah. No, that doesn't look like Pete, but I know that jersey from Super Sevens. That's one of the series down here. He looks like he's holding a ref jersey.
Yeah, he was one of the refs down there. I forget his name off the top of my head, but he plays at Wasaga Beach all the time.
Yeah. Pete's like an older gentleman, sort of in his 60s.
Oh, okay.
And he's one of the blokes that you remember when I was talking to Bill about those guns, the 62, and they'd knock your teeth out?
Yep.
Pete was one of the blokes that showed me, because he used to sit there with the false teeth and sort of like, I don't, with the plate. And he'd be like, yep, I got that from having paintball smashing my teeth out back in the day.
Yeah, up here that's a common thing. It's just like, yeah, you play hockey.
Yeah.
The end of that
Caught the puck.
conversation.
Yeah. You're
Like-
meant to catch it with the stick, not your teeth. Like
Yeah, we have excellent dentists up here. Why? Hockey.
Yeah.
If it's not a puck, it's a fist.
Yeah. It's like dudes throwing fists left, right, and center.
Yeah. Oh, he said nailed it. So I guess that's the picture. And Jacko plays Wasaga. Pete runs a field stateside and used to run. Okay, so it's Jacko that this is the picture of, and then Pete runs a field stateside and used to run NXL down under. Okay, fair enough.
Yep, that was Pete, and you'd always tell Pete too, because he used to have like one of those old school masks. You remember how I was talking about just the goggles, and then they had like the nose bridge and like only a fraction of your cheek coverage sort of thing, but left all of that?
Yeah,
Pete,
those were
Pete would
JT.
wear one of those. Yeah, the old JTs, and he would have a foxtail off the back of it.
Right.
And that's how we knew when we were shooting in Woods Ball and stuff, that we were shooting Pete, because there'd be a couple of other guys that would still run around with those really old masks, but be like the one with the foxtail flapping around in the back. Oh, that was Pete.
Well, those things, you could actually split the mask in half. Like there was a top and a bottom piece, and a lot of people would break off the bottom half just so that they could breathe better because they wanted to look tough or something. I don't know. I know that when my first paintball mask was a black plastic PMI.
Yep.
And then you put UVEX goggles over the top. So that was what I started with in 1989. And then real paintball goggles came out, and they were much more comfortable. They didn't have as much protection, but the eye protection was much, much better. But the rest of the face was just, yeah. And
open.
then, but it just had a little mask that just came straight down and covered your chin, but you'd take shots in the cheeks from the side, and there was nothing to protect your ears, which bothered me. So I actually bought what was called ear armor, and what it was a metal, or something. It was a plastic cup with foam on it, and then it had Velcro, and it would attach to the masks or the strap. Oh, can you tell I'm tired? I should be sleeping, but I'm wide awake. Did I just roll a J while chatting?
Oh,
no, he did. Yeah, sorry. I thought.
No.
I'm thinking language.
Yeah, not a J, just a cigarette. I smoke rollies, not like tailor-mades, as we call them. We call them tailors or rollies, and I just rolled a cigarette.
Oh, okay. I wouldn't care. It's legal in Canada, and
each to their own. But no, like it's still, they've only legalized medical down here. It's not legal to just for personal use. It's not legal. But no, just sitting here always when I get chatting and stuff, because I don't know half the time what to do with my hands. So like I try and keep them out of the shot, but then it's like I start getting fidgety, I start getting the smoking craving, and I'm just like, oh well, Steve's a mate, he'll understand. Gonna have a cigarette while I'm chatting. And I actually had a really cool kind of paintball related question to ask you.
Shoot.
What is something old school paintball, like either from early 90s or just 90s or even 80s, that isn't around no more, that you reckon that like manufacturers or that should bring back to the game, that something was like kind of cool that you don't see anymore that they should bring back?
That's a really good question. Now, bounce caps.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, bounce caps.
Yeah.
And not the bounce caps that it's not like the full Empire ones. But back in the day, there was these Smart Parts made them, but there's a few other, and it was just. Do you know what a cadet hat looks like? It's kind of like a ball cap, but it's a flat top, kind of like Marine, but it doesn't have all the pleats or whatever it's called. It's just like it's like a round can, and then it had a short beak, or peak, I should say, but the peak was neoprene. So you'd fold the neoprene up, and you had this big neoprene spot that protected your forehead,
like a cycle cap.
Almost. Cycle caps are more tight fitting.
Yeah.
This had like a flat top, and it was like a circle, but it was, those. And then I would love to see thick cotton jerseys make a comeback. Like I don't know if you've ever seen Renegade jerseys. I mean, well, if you watch my show, I've got 2 Renegade jerseys and a Tiger Stripe jersey. Not a real Tiger Stripe, a knockoff Tiger Stripe, but still. And it's a heavy cotton, almost like a thin denim, and it was just more rugged. So when you played in the spring and you played in the fall, you could crawl through raspberry bushes with all the thorns and stuff, and you weren't getting jabbed, and it was just so much more rough and tumble. It was like a BDU, but it was a pullover.
Well, I'd say like when you come to play in Australia, and we'll get you out for some bush ball, it's like definitely like bring something like that again, like but like I mean, some of our Aussie my mate's jersey that I showed you on the show before the Christmas special, my 33 degree ones, a lot of his ones through the sleeve area and right up to the shoulder is like a ballistic Kevlar nylon weave kind of thing, so that when you're sliding and stuff like that, it doesn't tear. And then it's just literally vented all the way down like the inner part of the sleeve and stuff like that. It's really quite a cool jersey that he makes, but definitely helpful for the rough and tumble of the woods ball out here, or bush ball as we call it.
Now when you say 32 degrees, he calls it 32 degrees, like is that his name for it?
No, sorry, correction, 33 degrees, sorry.
Okay, because 32 degrees,
32.
That was National Paintball Supply here in the United States, in North America, and that was Gino, who now owns Velkin, right?
Yeah. Well, where he is the 32 line of latitude.
Oh,
like the 33 degree latitude sort of thing.
Right.
That's why he's called 33 degrees industry, or like just 33 degrees paintball.
Sure. That's awesome.
Yeah, and he's made quite a few. That Spice Bears jersey that I showed you,
right?
Elmo made those too.
Well, that's cool.
And,
Well, no, I definitely have like old Renegades gear, 2 sets, and I've got my Focus jersey, which was Canadian made, and I've got the Tiger Stripe out of, I believe it was New York. It was a knockoff. I believe I'm told it came out of the state of New York. And I got old tough stuff, and I got new stuff, and I got stuff. Like, gear is not something that I have to worry about.
It's like one of the funny tactical morale patches that I got floating around on some of my old army gear was a gear whore. Maybe outnumbered, but never outgeared.
Right.
And and then I had one like the tactical trunk monkey.
Yeah, I've actually got that. The rubber patch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because being in mounted infantry and stuff, being the kind of, they call them the hull creatures or trunk monkeys, because it's like when they drop the back door out, it's just like like they all just scramble out the back like Planet of the Apes. And
but you know where trunk monkey comes from, right?
Yeah, it was a car ad for alarm system.
Commercial. Yeah.
Yeah, I loved every single one of them. Like the burglary one where the monkey knocks the dude over the head with a tire iron and throws him off the bridge. Yeah. So that was great.
All right, my friend. Well, I just felt like going live just because I could. So thank you for joining me. And
Anytime. My
thank you
pleasure.
for those few people that decided to come online and watch. If anybody has any questions, feel free to shoot. I know Connor, you're gonna bail sometime really, really soon because you got a family dinner to go to.
Yeah.
And it is almost 1:30 here in the morning. But if anybody watching has any questions or wants to chime in, feel free to ask away. I'm still trying to think of what other gear I would want to bring back. Like I definitely would love to see the bounce caps come back. I think those would just be the best.
I want to see more mag-fed stuff down under. And
yeah, but
same with a lot of
that's a legal thing, and I think Gino was very interested. Like he's been watching like a Vulcan. He's been watching, so he's probably on that like nobody's business right now, because if there's an entire continent that can't get his product, I think he's going to try to figure something out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd be so keen because, like,
He's
as
a
I
killer
said,
when it comes to that sort of thing.
yeah, getting those XM17s, but even we don't see a lot anymore of Tipman stuff, and that's something I grew up on in the sport.
Right.
Like either 98s, the Pro Carbines, which were like some of the most sturdiest, robust guns. Like if you had to beat yourself out of an iron tank, you could use one of these carbines to beat your way through the metal.
Yep.
And then it'd still shoot straight. And the same as A5s. Like I know A5s are an old gun, like they're 20-something-year-old gun that they're now more of like a collector's item and cool talking point, that it's like, you got an A5? Oh, holy shit. You know, you can do this, and this with it. And like put all this, like hang every accessory you possibly could off it, bar your cappuccino machine. And yeah, they were just phenomenal.
Well, you know, the A5 is basically based on the Model 98, right?
Yeah.
The only thing difference is it's got a lot more plastic, and it's got the cyclone feed, if I remember what it's called.
Yeah.
I am not a Tipman fan. Just please, everybody, don't hang me. I am not a Tipman fan at all. I never really liked anything that they made short of the SMG with the stripper clips, and even then, not my thing. And my problem with it is not that it's not a good, solid, rugged, reliable marker, because they are. My problem is they used that clamshell design, which cheaper, easy to make, whatnot, but having to take apart, what is it, 50, 60,000 screws that go around the outside so you can pull it apart, and then they fly off, and then it's just taking it apart to clean it and put together. As a maintenance guy, I drove me nuts. And my friends would say, well, why would you even want to take it apart to clean it? It'll never stop shooting. It just goes against my principle, right? Like I got to take it apart. I got to clean it. I got to make sure everything's working. And then I got to put it back together. And so all those screws drove me insane. So that's my big beef with Tipman as a general rule. But that being said, before the electronics came out for Tipman, do you know who designed the electronics for Tipman?
No.
That would be Aardvark Paintball in Stratford, Ontario.
Oh, wow.
Which is
you'd be able
about an hour and a half. Oh, sorry, about 2 hours that way.
Oh, okay. You'd be able to tell me. I think I was hearing something. I was either watching something by PB Nation on YouTube, that even for in the States, a lot of like markers were actually manufactured in Canada. Like a lot of, like, when it all started to get bigger and stuff, they were manufacturing in Canada. And as far as from what I could understand was that even though they were manufacturing in Canada with these, like with particular markers, I don't know the brand or anything like
Brad
that.
Siegel and Matrix.
That at the time that they were manufacturing, paintball was still illegal in Canada. but yet they were making the markers to send to the states in Canada or
Paintball was
something
never
like
illegal in
that.
Canada.
Oh, okay. Did
No,
it go through like a gray area of like deciding what was actually legal or illegal?
not in Canada.
Not in Canada. It was just accepted and cool and
Very first
unlike.
paintball, very first paintball game was played in the United States, as you know, in 1981. And then early 1982, the very first paintball game was played in Perth, Ontario, Canada, which is 4 hours that way.
Okay.
And I've been to it, and I've actually been to the site where it was played, believe it or not.
Wow.
Perth.
Is it still a field?
No, long gone.
No.
Long gone, but still been there. Because I dated a girl that lived in Ottawa, and Perth is like a suburb of Ottawa-ish. Perth, Ontario, by the way, is also the last place that I believe a legal or a lethal duel like happened in Canada as well.
Oh, really?
It's one of those stupid things that, yeah. So anyway, that was the first time paintball was played was in 1982. And that was played in Canada. And then I started in 89. And to my knowledge, it was never illegal.
Okay. Yeah, well, it was like when I was explaining it that they used to just put an ad in the paper where it was like, you want to come play a war game and ring this number. And it was like in your local paper. So you knew it was kind of local to your area.
Right.
You'd ring it and it was like, you know, bring $100 to $200 cash, meet me at this location, leave your car.
Right.
And you get put into the back of this dude's panel van and, you know, smuggled out. And it was all blacked out, so you couldn't see where you were going.
Where the field was, right.
Yeah, he just opened the back doors and you'd get out and you'd have another panel van that'd have all the balls and gear and little CO2 gram stuff. And then he'd be like, righto, it's $20 per 10 cigar tube sort of thing. And you'd carry them around and then you'd have to feed them into the pistol and then
I remember when I started playing, that was what we had. Everything was 12 gram and all the I started playing, I bought my gear right away. Well, I showed you basically what my first gun was, right? And it had the 12 grams.
I know.
But within 2-3 weeks, I was working as a referee just because that's what I did. If I wasn't playing, I was reffing, right? And so we, depending on what field I was reffing, that was PGPs, which are the brass 3-stack, or Nell spots, which is the 2, right? And occasionally there would be the original CCI Phantoms. There was the big Sheridan rifle, the wooden one. They were upgrades to the sniper rifle or the machine gun. CCI Phantom was known as a machine gun back in the day, if you can believe that. But yeah, so if people wanted to rent, and then if there was like the birthday boy or the girl, whatever the case may be, very rarely did girls play back then, very rarely. But yeah, they would give, like, the promoter of the event would get the better gun, and that was specifically to try to scare everybody else to try to rent to upgrade. Very few people did, but yeah.
Well, that's something else in the Australian scene too, that you just touched on there, is that down here there aren't that many that play that like competitively, but you know, it still falls under that whole big banner of like growing the sport. Chloe plays, she doesn't play competitively, but there's this big kind of culture to try and get more women into the sport down under because of this whole, it really hurts and all of that.
See, that's not an Aussie thing. That's a global thing. That doesn't matter where you are. Now, in the United States, more and more girls are playing because they just are, because it's awesome. But it's still, girls are severely outnumbered, severely outnumbered.
There's a lot of products though that I'm finding that are coming out that are aimed at women's, like in the soft good areas, like particularly with
Padding.
padding,
Padding.
sports
We'll just leave it at
bras.
padding. Yep.
Yep, and more tailored to that, because the only other option was to buy one of those big bulky bloody bounce vest kind of strap on things and go, here you go. There's adequate protection for you. And, you know, they go to squat or something behind a barricade, and then all of a sudden the vest is like, dunk, and, you know.
Around here, they usually just stuff tube socks in their bra.
Well,
and that's not a joke. That was just commonly done.
Yeah. Well, my sister, who used to play competitive bushball with me, she actually went around that by going to Clark Rubber and buying the really thick neoprene wetsuit material.
Yep.
And cut some decent squares, wore it to sports, and put that in there.
Yep.
And because it actually used to be a legal requirement that if females were to play paintball down here, they had to wear a padded vest.
A legal requirement?
Yep, for paintball.
That just seems like an invade.
More so because getting shot there, the risk of either serious injury or, you know, later on that, you know, it could become breast cancer or receiving damage to those particular parts.
So basic stupidity. Gotcha.
Yeah, pretty much. And it was very, a lot of girls were like, nah, stuff that. The blokes aren't wearing that down here, so why should we? And then they just, even though, as far as I'm aware, it's still a legal requirement, and probably you might have one of my fellow Australians get on here and correct me that might be better in the know, but it's not enforced anymore, you know, like, because
kind of like spitting.
Yeah, you know, like you can't really control that. And you, at the beginning of every paintball game, tournament thing anyway, you sign a waiver. So anything like that keeps the field owners covered for any sort of ramifications or any issues. So yeah, and half the time anyway, a lot of the culture down here anyway was that it's like, if you break something whilst playing paintball and you do the real kind of douchey thing of turning around and trying to sue your operator for you either just running and just diving, and then all of a sudden by you break an arm, that there's that kind of culture is that we've got Medicare and that takes care of everything. So if you cop a broken arm, you're not going to be out of pocket to go and get it set and you know, taken care of. And it's still, field owners still have your waivers, but it just covers their ass to be like, if you trip and fall and get a scrape or a bump, Aussies still wear multiple straps on their mask. No, we only have the one single and a chin strap, and that's it.
Right. Unless you're wearing the slides.
Yeah, well, even at tournaments now, most
chin
tournaments
straps are required.
Yeah, but not
the slides still come with a double strap.
No, I don't think I've never seen a sly. Well, I've only ever seen HK, Virtue.
Sly is Vulcan's upper tier, if I remember correctly.
We have Vulcan masks.
It's got a double strap. Pardon?
We have Vulcan masks. That was actually my first paintball mask I actually bought, but getting back into the game was just a Vulcan standard punters one. It cost me, I think, $30 to get it, or $60 or something like that.
Bear with me 1 second. I'm just jumping on Vulcan here. And goggles and masks. And I'm just seeing if they still make the. All right, so the Pro Fit, it's a double.
Okay, I'll have to have a look at that, because I don't think I've ever seen it. Mostly Push is another brand that we have. Amazing masks.
Right.
But the we actually had an incident at my local field that sort of shows why chin straps are important to have. We had a player who had oh yeah.
So if you see right there, that's actually 2 straps.
Oh, okay.
So they were slides, and now they're just called the Falcon Pro Fit.
Okay. Yeah.
And these are wicked goggles, by the way. Absolutely amazing. I can't say enough nice things about Falcon goggles. Now, I like how push fits me because of my broken nose. So I love my push goggles. But I can't say enough nice things about these Vulcan goggles. They're pretty amazing. So,
yeah.
But for me, push is what I wear because that's what fits me best. And you ask any paintball player or any paintball manufacturer, obviously they'll want you to buy their brands, but they'll still tell you wear what fits you best, wear what you're most comfortable with, and wear so you can see, because all masks fit different. And so make sure that you wear what suits you best, unless you're one of their sponsored pro teams, and then you kind of have to wear their gear. But ultimately, whatever fits you best. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I suffer from an Australian syndrome that's called big buff head. So I got like a very long face, but also sometimes it's like I've got to get the butter out and put it on the side of my head to walk through the door. So it's sort of like, I struggled a lot trying to find a mask that would actually cover my face properly, to literally just to get like the depth, because it was like even like with the HK KLRs would literally finish just below my bottom lip, and I still had all my chin hanging out. And I'd be like, if I'm in the middle of yelling and someone smacks me straight in the mouth, I'm going to cop half a paintball through my mouth. And I'll just be like, as much as I'd be like, eat some paint, guys. I wouldn't want to do that on a regular basis at 30 balls a second or something like that. Just have like a whole bunch and just be like,
Well, having said, been there, done that, it sucks. Now, luckily, it didn't hit the back of my throat. It hit the inside of my teeth. And I was spitting paint and blood, and just because it cut the inside of my cheek with the shell. But yeah.
Well, we got over here in Australia a particular manufacturer of paint, and I won't say who, bought out a line of flavored paint that had a flavor to it. And whoever the
I would rather it taste like insect repellent than that god awful bubble gum.
Well, we had a chocolate one, a lime flavored one, and a cherry one. And I tell you what, whoever the synthetic guy at their factory that mixes the food grade taste chemicals has never eaten any of these things in his entire life. He just probably put it together and went, oh, that tastes like a lime. And, the cherry one was like red death flavor. Like that's what death tastes like.
That's what death tastes like.
Like, I got smashed in my mouth with all of this cherry stuff it just sort of come through the vents in me. My mask and everything.
That's the ex-wife flavor, because nothing's worse.
Yeah, and I was just sitting there, just going, "Yeah, oh God! Like, is this what death tastes like?" Like, just I couldn't believe it. And then when I got back, and I got getting hit with all this other kind of flavored paint and stuff like that, and I'd be like, "Oh, like." Oh God, that tastes like floor scrapings or something like, and that's supposed to be chocolate. And it's like, no, Connor, that's the cow pat you ended up in. And I'm like, oh right, yeah, no worries. But then even the same with like the lime stuff, it just tasted like bitterness and regret. And it was just like whoever. Oh, and there was a banana one too. I've seen the banana one, and tasted that, and nah. But I mean, with with us Aussies, we're very much like, what does that taste like? If you eat that, what does it taste like? You know, just the curiosity killing the cat kind of situation, because we'd be sitting there going, ooh, 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 you know, but it's like we're the only country in the world that actually eats our coat of arms by the koalas, but unless there's special ways around there. But yeah, we eat the kangaroo and the emu, and then it's just like, what else can we eat? You know, if they're going to try and kill us, we will put the fear of God in them. But funny fact, we actually had a war against the emus here in Australia, like a legitimate war where the army was mobilized and went to war against our emus.
Really?
Yep. You should look it up. We lost terribly, and we only killed about 150 of them. I tell you what, man, it sounds strange, but it's a legitimate thing, because emus, at a point there was literally one emu for the population of Australia. When at the time that this happened, there was like one emu for every second person in Australia at that time. There was so many of them. And in South Australia and parts of Western Australia, the emus were getting into our agriculture, and they were destroying our crops. They were eating our stuff before we could get and harvest it. And they were just destroying, you know, thousands of hectares worth of like Australian produce. And the government went, righto, we just finished World War One. We've got some trained guys. Our guys are like, the army at the time was sort of local militia and stuff like that, but they were still all equipped. They went, righto, mobilize the army, go out there and get these returned servicemen to go and at least cull these emu. And they only managed, I think the death toll of the emus at the end of it were 150, and there was millions of the damn things. And they just gave up, because the emus, and along with the cassowaries, are like descendants of raptors. So these things got really, really smart. They would we would set up ambushes for them, like put out big food stockpiles or wait for them to go to the watering hole, and they'd lie there and wait and ambush, and then they'd pop up and start shooting. And they even brought out heavy machine gun emplacements and everything to try and wipe out these emus. And it went on for, I think, 4 years. 4 years the emu war happened, and we only got 150 of them.
So how did you finally work the emus down?
Pretty much by deforestation and destroying some of the natural habitat, by building up a lot of city centers and rural areas. Like, we still have, I think at last count, there was over 2.5 million of the damn things, but they're more located out in the outback now. So out on the cattle stations and things like that. They weren't, because after this, a lot of the farmers ended up just building a lot of high fences around their plots. And they would build one giant big perimeter fence. Like, I mean, we even had a war with the rabbits too. Bloody rabbits. We built the rabbit-proof fence that stretched all the way from the corner of Queensland, and it went all the way down to and across into South Australia, to try and stop the bloody rabbits. I mean, we should have taken a page out of the Chinese and built like a Great Wall or something like that, because if you watch one of our funny commercials, they'd be like, "Oh, Dad, why did they build the Great Wall of China?" And the dad's just like being a typical bloke going, "Oh, well, the Great Wall of China was built during the time of Emperor Nazi Goring, and they built it to keep the rabbits out." And they were just like, so after that, our version of the Great Wall was the rabbit-proof fence, and then one of our greatest sort of military losses that we've suffered was in the Great Emu War. That, you know, we only got 150 of them in 4 years.
See, if that happened in Canada, I will tell you right now what would happen.
Yeah.
Natural Resources would go, all right, $50 bounty on every head you bring, every emu head you bring.
Yep.
Hunters, we've lifted the season. It's a free for all. Just have at her.
Yep. Well,
that would be the end of that. That's how we deal every time that we have a coyote pack that happens.
Yep.
In a rural area, or there's a big coyote build up. They say, okay, $25 in every $25 for every left. I think it's the left ear. It's just like, go get them, and when we just go out and just like, there's 3 times more licensed hunters in Canada than there are hockey players.
Jesus.
Yep. just
stress.
You feel free to look. You feel free to look that stat up in Google. Look up how many registered hockey players there are in Canada, and it's just under 800,000.
Oh,
and you look up and you see how many licensed gun owners there are in Canada, and and that's for non-restricted, and it will show you almost 2.2 million.
Jesus. So listen here, Americans.
A lot of hunters in Canada.
Don't invade Canada.
Nope. We're one of the most heavily armed countries in the world, citizen-wise. We just are. Like, we're nowhere near compared to what the States are. Like, just to be clear. But that being said, if you look at Canada and you look out you look at the maps and stuff, we're mostly country with just a few cities. And once you start getting into the smaller towns and stuff and you start going out, it's a requirement. Like it's a tool that you need. Now, not everybody has it, but you get out into the north and whatnot. Like, I mean, you get up so where the polar bears are, you can't go fishing without a gun.
Yeah.
A polar bear can smell you from 2 kilometers away and they will hunt you.
Jesus.
They are the only mammal known to man that actively hunts people.
Ouch.
Like, don't get me wrong. There are other animals out there in the world that will go after a person if, like a tiger, for example, or a lion. They will go after people, but that's not what they'll go for first. They'll go for something smaller, or they'll go for, like, you know what I mean? They have preferences. Not that they won't hunt people, but polar bears, they get a whiff of you and they're after you from 2 kilometers away.
Well, I'll have to jump off. I got to go bail and get ready. But
that's okay. It's almost
next time I'll come on.
It's almost 1:45 in the morning, so I'm gonna try to go to bed anyway. I was just waiting for you, and then I was gonna.
Not a worry. Well, I'll tell you a story next time about some funny military personnel that got literally hunted by cassowaries in kangaroo grass. And I'll tell you by the accent as to where they're from, but they literally thought they were in Jurassic Park in this exercise and getting hunted by bloody cassowaries and raptors and so that'll be a story for another day, but another dinky die story from down under. Oh yeah.
All right. Well, it is almost 2 a.m. here. You gotta go. I gotta go. So have a good night, and everybody else that joined us for a little bit. Thanks for watching. Thanks for keeping me company. Thanks for keeping Connor company. Pleasure meeting your girlfriend, by the way. And yeah. All right, cheers. Dude. Have a good one. I'm going to shut this podcast down. Play with passion, everybody, and keep your paint dry.